see being carried out at the moment? Again, it comes from Britain and an era long past, the restoration of the monarchy. Following the death of Cromwell and the end of the British Interregnum, or Commonwealth, which had been in place since the execution of King Charles I in 1649, Charles's son, King Charles II, who had been living in exile, was invited to return to Britain. He did so in 1660. When Charles arrived at Dover, 2 of Cromwell's regiments were formed up to greet him and to offer their loyalty. But King Charles was hesitant to accept these assurances of loyalty, so his solution was to walk up and down the lines of soldiers, looking directly into the face of each man in an attempt to ascertain attitude of each soldier by the expression on his face. And thus was born the tradition of the inspection as you see carried out on parade this morning. Incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, the 2 regiments greeting King Charles at Dover that day in 1660 still remain on the British Army's order of battle. They are the Grenadier Guards and the Royal Horse Guards. Many of our military traditions come from the British Army, and the ceremonial parade you see here today has its roots in the period following the English Civil War, when the British Army was established. The purpose of the parade during that period was to allow the King, as the Commander-in-Chief, or in his absence, a General, to assess the standards of the battalions and regiments that were being incorporated into the Army for a campaign. During the parade, the battalion or regiment would provide a demonstration of their training by conducting common battlefield drills in a compressed time frame as a demonstration of their readiness for campaigning. The parade will commence with the troops being marched to the field by their warrant officers and sergeants, whose responsibilities included getting the troops to the location of the battle in the correct order with the right equipment in formation ready to fight, or what a modern army would refer to as battle procedure. While this was occurring, the officers who had already moved forward to the battlefield on horseback would be conducting their final reconnaissance and issuing confirmatory orders for battle. Once the troops were formed up by the warrant officers and sergeants, the officers would join the troops, taking up their positions as if they were ready for battle. The King or his representative would then arrive and be met by a host officer, as well as any local officials. The host officer was often the local nobleman who had the responsibility for raising the battalion within that region or country. Once the King was received on parade, the commanding officer would invite the King to conduct his inspection. The primary purpose of the inspection was to allow the King to personally check the soldiers' equipment and uniforms to ensure they were up to the standard required for a campaign. Importantly, it also offered the King the opportunity to get a glimpse of their fitness and morale and a sense of their loyalty, something that had not always been guaranteed during the Civil War. Importantly, the inspection allowed the King to satisfy himself that various departments and agencies responsible for equipping the troops had fulfilled their responsibilities, that the King's taxes had been spent effectively, and that the uniforms, weapons and equipment were of the right quality for campaigning. Following the inspection, the battalion would complete a series of standardized drills, replicating the movements they would be expected to perform instinctively on the battlefield under fire. This display of drill gave the King a glimpse of their marching fitness, their individual and collective discipline, and the ability of the officers to maneuver their troops under fire. In essence, it was a battle fitness assessment. After